Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, I want you to be really honest with yourself for a second. You know you have a good life, right? You look around, and from the outside, everything seems totally fine. Honestly, you might even have exactly what you're supposed to want. Yet, there's this persistent, kind of annoying background feeling that something is just missing. Something's off. And because you can't point to a single massive tragedy or failure to explain it, you end up feeling guilty for even feeling this way. Trust me, this is one of the most common yet least talked about emotional experiences of modern life. And today, we're going to unpack exactly why this happens. So the big question, why does a good life feel bad? First things first, and I really need you to hear this, feeling unfulfilled despite objective success is absolutely not a character flaw. And it is definitely not ingratitude. So let's stop blaming ourselves, okay? Instead, we're going to shift the blame where it actually belongs, to a set of very specific, highly understandable psychological and biological mechanisms. Basically, your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. The catch? It's doing it in a modern world it just wasn't designed for. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the brain's flawed math. To kick things off, we have to look at a psychological mechanism called hedonic adaptation. This is your brain's automatic, built-in tendency to return to a relatively stable baseline of happiness regardless of what happens to you, good or bad. Think about it. Getting that big promotion or moving into your dream apartment. You feel absolutely incredible for about a month, and then, well, it's just your job. It's just where you live. Researchers at Northwestern University actually studied real-life lottery winners, and get this, they found that within one single year of hitting the jackpot, their happiness levels had returned almost entirely to where they were before they won. No way, right? It's not because they were ungrateful, it's just because their brains automatically adapted to the new reality. And this perfectly illustrates our first core challenge. The high becomes the baseline, and the baseline, it always wants more. See, your brain wasn't designed to let any single achievement permanently elevate your mood. It was designed to keep you seeking, striving, because that's what kept our ancestors alive. So here is a super quick micro prescription for you to try today. Think of something in your life you fully adapted to, something that used to feel like a massive, genuine gift. Spend exactly 5 deliberate minutes today interacting with it as if for the very first time. Psychologists call this positive re-engagement, and it actually temporarily reverses that adaptation by reintroducing a little spark of novelty. Now that adaptation builds directly into our next troublemaker, the negativity bias. This is the hardwired, neurological tendency for your brain to register, process, and remember negative information way more intensely than positive stuff. Remember, your brain is essentially an outdated survival machine. A brain that was equally interested in good news and bad news, yeah, that brain wouldn't have survived long enough to pass on its genes. Threats needed immediate attention. But in our modern lives, where, being chased by a predator is pretty rare, this bias just runs continuously on regular daily stuff. It's why you magnify that one single critical comment you got at work while completely ignoring the 20 compliments. The sheer math behind this bias is actually staggering. To put it in perspective, researchers have found that it takes approximately 5 positive experiences to counteract the emotional impact of just one negative experience of equal intensity. A 5-to-1 ratio. That means you could have 4 amazing things happen today, and just one minor bad thing, and your brain will still make you end the day feeling net negative. It's not because you're some gloomy pessimist, the biological math simply does not work in your favor. Because your brain is systematically undercounting the good, you have to literally correct this biological bias manually. It's like hacking your own system. At the end of today, I want you to write down 5 specific good things that happened. Do this daily for 2 straight weeks. You aren't forcing toxic positivity on yourself here. You are simply rebalancing a scale that was heavily tilted against you before you even woke up this morning. Seriously, try it and just notice how your daily perception begins to shift. All right, moving right along. Section 2, the illusions of time and purpose. Stepping away from our cognitive math for a second, we need to look at how we relate to the present and the future. Psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar coined this brilliant term for something I guarantee you have experienced, the arrival fallacy. This is the false belief that reaching a specific goal or destination will finally produce lasting happiness. We constantly overestimate how happy future events will make us, and we massively underestimate how quickly we'll just adapt right back to our baseline. The arrival fallacy fuels this endless, exhausting internal monologue. You absolutely know the thoughts I'm talking about. When I get the job, I'll finally be happy. Or maybe when I lose the weight, everything will feel better. Or when I move to the new city, man, my life will really begin. This mindset keeps your happiness permanently locked away in the future. It's always just one step beyond wherever you are right now, regardless of how much ground you've already covered. So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that arrival, well, it never actually delivers what anticipation promised. And it isn't because your goals are wrong or bad. It's because you're using the goal as a container for all the happiness you aren't allowing yourself to feel right now, in the present. So try this. Identify one thing you're waiting for to finally feel okay. Figure out the underlying need behind that goal, whether it's a need for safety, connection, or maybe freedom. And find a way to meet that need just partially today. Don't wait for the arrival to meet it fully. Now, another major illusion is how we view what actually makes us happy in the first place. We have to draw a really clear line between two entirely different types of well-being. Hedonic well-being is all about immediate pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. And let's be real, modern life is amazing at providing this on demand. But eudaimonic well-being, that's about deep meaning, purpose, growth, and contribution. And this is exactly what modern life is starving us of. We've got endless comfort, but very little inherent purpose. The research is super clear on this. People with high pleasure but low meaning usually report feeling empty, hollow, and vaguely purposeless, even if their circumstances are objectively super comfortable. Here's the truth. No amount of additional pleasure, no amount of extra scrolling or comfort food is ever going to fill a meaning-shaped hole. If your life is feeling a little empty of meaning right now, you need to take one concrete step towards creating it this week. Ask yourself what kind of contribution or connection would feel genuinely meaningful to you, and literally just start there. And speaking of the present moment, there's this stunning data out of Harvard that blew my mind. They found that people spend nearly 47% of their waking hours thinking about something entirely different than what they are actually doing. Think about that. Almost half of your life is spent somewhere else mentally. And the researchers found that people were significantly less happy when their minds were wandering. Your life is happening right now, folks. Whatever is genuinely good in your life, it exists only in the present moment. If you're perpetually living in the past or constantly worrying about the future, the good things happening right in front of you are basically invisible. And man, this chronic distraction is so heavily compounded by our devices. Research actually shows that the mere presence of a smartphone on a desk, I'm talking face down, even turned completely off, measurably reduces your cognitive presence and emotional engagement. So here is a challenge for you. Choose one activity today. Maybe it's a meal, maybe it's just taking a walk, and fully inhabit it, entirely screen-free. Notice what suddenly becomes available to you when you actually show up for your own life. Okay, moving to section 3, the biological root cause. So up until now, we've really been focusing on psychology. But the final reason a good life feels bad is the ultimate plot twist. It shifts entirely to biology, specifically chronic low-grade physiological stress. This is a continuous background stress response triggered by the relentless, non-stop demands of modern life. Just think about your day. Endless emails, notifications popping off, financial pressures, social comparison on social media, just massive information overload. Now, obviously, none of these things are literal lions chasing you across the savannah, but your nervous system, it actually cannot fully distinguish between an inbox full of urgent emails and a genuine physical threat. As a result of this confusion, your body is essentially running a mild but constant stress response all day long. And this comes with a steep neurochemical cost. When your nervous system runs this background stress program, it actively suppresses the production of serotonin and dopamine. Those are the exact chemicals directly associated with contentment, motivation, and genuine positive feelings. You literally are not producing enough of the chemicals required to make life feel good simply because your body is too busy preparing for a threat that never arrives and never really leaves. Which brings us to perhaps the most important realization of this entire explainer. I really want you to let this sink in. Your circumstances are fine, your brain chemistry is not, and circumstances cannot fix chemistry. You could literally have an objectively incredible life, but if your nervous system is trapped in this low-grade survival mode, you're just going to feel a persistent flatness. Let me say it again. It is not a character flaw. It is pure biology. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, resetting your neurochemical baseline. So, how do we actually fix our biology? Well, experts like Stanford neuroscientist Andrew Huberman have documented exactly how to restore this baseline. And don't worry, these aren't some fancy, expensive luxury spa routines. These are biological maintenance practices for a system that modern life chronically overloads. You can manually regulate your nervous system. Try just 5 minutes of slow breathing where your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. It works wonders. Or maybe 60 seconds of cold water at the end of your shower. Try 10 minutes of vigorous movement just to get your heart rate up, or 20 minutes of genuine, entirely screen-free rest. Doing any one of these consistently will actually begin to shift the underlying neurochemical environment that dictates how you feel. So we've covered the hedonic treadmill, the negativity bias, the arrival fallacy, the modern lack of meaning, our chronic distraction, and that low-grade biological stress constantly running in the background. The hidden causes of your dissatisfaction? They're out in the open now. So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Will you let outdated survival software dictate how you experience your perfectly good life?